Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for part 2 of your weekend love reading for the weekend of March 20th to 22nd. Keep in mind that this reading is particularly for Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, and so it can apply to any placement you have in your chart. If you're a cross-watcher, I do not judge you, but keep in mind that you will have those placements in one of your houses. That said, I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. Keep in mind these time and energy are fluid, so these messages can apply to you, another person, or vice versa. So if it doesn't fit, don't force it. But that said, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I hope you've had a beautiful week. I hope you're staying safe out there. I hope you're staying calm. But yes, I'm going to take a deep breath to connect deeper with our higher selves and spirit, and I do implore you to do the same. Call to Spirit to please help myself and anyone watching this hear, see, and know anything we need to hear, see, and know for the weekend of March 20th to 22nd, 2020 in love. Keep in mind that Saturn is literally moving into Aquarius as this reading is coming out. So take that into consideration. We are finally away from the retrograde of Mercury. The retro shade ended on the 17th. Very happy about that, to be honest. But that said, we're going to get right into it. So, hello Leo. I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind that this reading can apply to any Leo placement you have in your chart. If you're a cross-watcher, I do not judge you. But keep in mind, okay, this is not shuffling. So keep in mind that while you may not have a Leo placement, you will have Leo in one of your houses. That said, keep in mind time and energy are fluid, so these messages can apply to you, another person, and vice versa. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Don't force it if it doesn't fit. That said, we're going to see what Spirit has in store for you in love for the weekend of March 20th to 22nd, 2020. Okay, so we have Four of Swords reverse. We have the Tree of Life reverse, 10 of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles. This is very, very interesting energy because the 10 of Pentacles, to me, yes, it can represent emotional fulfillment. It can represent beautiful, beautiful things in life. It can also represent the ending of karmic cycles, the ending of emotional, intense cycles. Given that the Queen of Pentacles is the overall energy here, the Queen of Pentacles to me in this reading, while it can represent you, this is a feminine energy. Leo is a masculine energy, I believe. Given the Queen and then the Pentacles are both feminine energies. So this may very well represent somebody you're dealing with. It could be an Earth sign, a Taurus, a Virgo, or Capricorn. But what's interesting is the fact that we have the Four of Swords reverse with the Tree of Life reverse. The Tree of Life reverse, when it comes out for me, represents the fact that you may be trying to go against the flow. You may not be trusting the universe enough to let things come out the way they need to come out, and you may be in a state of trying to force your way in or out of something that is not really conducive to your own emotional fulfillment. You may try to chase after something you think is going to be emotionally fulfilling, but the universe keeps placing you in this state of not getting exactly what it is you think you want, but it's for a reason. But it's interesting because it's like the Four of Swords reverse. It can represent not taking enough time to rest, because when the Four of Swords is upright, that represents, a restful time, a time of really just taking a step back from stuff. And so I think that, that's really the message that came through anyways. It makes sense. Really taking this time to just relax and stop trying to force your way into something or out of something. That's really what's coming through. But we're going to clarify these for you here. So we have Ace of Swords clarifying the Four of Swords reverse. We have the Judgment reverse clarifying the Tree of Life reverse, and then we have the Hanged Man reverse clarifying 10 of Cups, with the Two of Cups as the overall energy, clarifying the overall energy. Okay, so Two of Cups can represent a relationship, can represent love, can represent a union of types, but it can also represent the fusion of inner masculine and feminine energies, keeping in mind not gender specific. But it's interesting because the Four of Swords reverse and the Hanged Man, to me, especially given they're both in the reverse, is representing a very similar energy. Because, like, I don't know, we have the Ace of Swords here. And the Ace of Swords here is essentially feeling like this sense of trying to see things clearly, but not taking the time to take action on what it is you're seeing, if that makes sense. Because the Ace of Swords can represent seeing some type of truth, mental clarity, away from mental fog. But it's as if you going against the flow is causing you to not truly see what it is that's going on. But I don't know, we're going to actually pull a closing message here for you. The message is a little bit, it's a little bit contradictory. It's as if the universe wants you to take action, but not based on the old ways in which you would have done it in the past. And that's why there's this sense of needing to stop going against the flow. Okay. So, we're going to do one closing message here for you. Alright. We have the Badger. It says, abandon, compromise, and fight valiantly for what you believe in. Some very contradictory messages coming through for you, given the fact that this could be about another person. So, I mean, if this is about another person, Spirit's telling me very well might be, they may be afraid of coming forward, and the reason that they're not coming forward is because they're afraid of whether or not you would want to be with them or try to build a relationship with them. So this can very well represent a divine counterpart or a soulmate relationship where, you know, this feminine energy here might be your counterpart. You may resonate more with the masculine energy, which is, again, is not gender specific, but there's a sense of this person really wanting to do this, but the fact that there's this card is about abandoning compromise, and so it's as if both of you maybe do want to come together, but there's a sense of, there's an idea of like compromising yourself at the expense of your own personal fulfillment, right? So I feel like there is a fine line between compromise and coming to a sense of understanding with another person without sacrificing too much of yourself, right? But that's really all I have for you, Leo. If you'd like to book a personal reading, please send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. I love you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful week. Stay safe and stay calm out there. Hello, Virgo. I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind that this reading can apply to any Virgo placement you have in your charts. If you are a cross-watcher, I do not judge you, but keep in mind that while you do not have your Virgo placement, you will have Virgo in one of your houses. That said, I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. Keep in mind that time and energy are fluid. These messages can apply to you, another person, or vice versa. So if it doesn't fit, don't force it, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. That said, we're going to see what Spirit has in store for you for the weekend of March 20th to March 22nd, 2020. We have the Princess of Swords reverse. We have the Two of Swords. Yeah, why is this card so dirty? Excuse me. I don't know what that is on the card. It's like maybe coffee or something. Two of Swords reverse, and the Nine of Pentacles, nope, Nine of Cups reverse, and then the Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Overall energy. So I'm being told that you essentially need to stop holding on so tightly to what it is that has gone wrong in your life. And you need to stop wearing your trauma like a badge. Like, it's one thing to really heal it and to accept it, but if you fully define yourself based on what you've been through, that often limits you from becoming the version of yourself you may want to become. Because it's like keeping these old stories alive and repeating them in your head that's stopping you from coming into the truest essence of yourself that's trying to come through. Because the Two of Swords to me in the reverse can represent a lack of mental clarity and can represent some difficulties in the mind, some mental fog. Two in the upright often represents, a type of truce, a type of peaceful compromise. Compromise isn't the right word I'm trying to think of. There's a peaceful resolution. But the fact that it's in the reverse, in the context of this reading, this could very well represent another person you're dealing with. The Princess of Swords can represent like an air sign. So what do we have? Like Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. It does also represent masculine energy. Pentacles giving you are a earth sign represents feminine energy. So this can actually represent a feminine energy you may be dealing with. They may be feeling like they're in this state, and that is what's kind of causing them to to seem a little bit finicky or unsure, because they're in this very woe is me, self-indulgent type of energy right now. And that's indicated to me here by the Nine of Cups reverse. Nine of Cups to me often represents a type of selfishness, a type of independence, a healthy selfishness, right? But when it's in the reverse, it represents a very unhealthy obsession with selfishness. And it's as if this person, whether this is you or another person, feels as if they need to protect themselves right now because they're in this Ten of Swords energy. But the beautiful thing about the Ten of Swords is that, yes, it is a burdensome card, but the Ten of Swords is representative of coming to the end of those burdensome cycles, which is interesting because it's this person, while they're feeling, really unsure, maybe a little bit unbalanced, a little bit just mentally distraught and emotionally distraught in general, there's a sense of them coming to the end of this, given this could be you or another person. So we're going to clarify this, see what comes through for you. Alright, so what do we have here? Clarifying the Princess of Swords via the Page of Wands. This has been coming out for a lot of different signs. Clarifying the King of Pentacles reverse. To the Two of Swords reverse, excuse me. Oops. Clarifying the Nine of Cups reverse, we have the Nine of Cups reverse again, and then we have the Page of Swords reverse, clarifying the Ten of Swords. So I'm really interested in the fact that we got the same card twice. When I get the same card twice, that tells me that there is another way to look at the situation, and I may not be fully interpreting the message, or there are multiple messages for multiple people. So what I'm drawn to with this Nine of Cups here is we do have a lot of court cards on the table. When there are a lot of court cards on the table, that can represent multiple people, can also represent the inner masculine and feminine energies of your internal experience, depending on the context of the cards. But the fact that we have the Page of Wands clarifying this Princess of Swords reverse, that's essentially telling me this person feels like they do want to move forward with this. There is a sense of wanting to come forward and kind of just let you know what they have been going through. Page of Swords reverse represents wanting to come out of that space in which they may just be watching from afar. They may not be communicating much with you right now, and it's because they're healing a lot, and I think a lot of us are, which is why that message comes through for so many different signs. Given the King of Pentacles is in reverse, this can represent needing to come to a deeper sense of inner feminine and masculine balance, indicated by the Two of Swords reverse. Because while it is a two, and it is of the swords, this is telling me that this person, it could very well be you, honestly, Spirit is telling me that it's both. And so there's a sense of really learning to decipher between which thoughts you've taken on from other people and which thoughts are infiltrating your ability to manifest in a way that isn't going to bring in some very similar experiences. And so there's a need to acknowledge the fact that you've been through some tough things. Yes, acknowledge that. Embrace it if you need to, but don't define yourself by that, because by defining yourself by that, you're going to keep yourself in this woe is me energy. You're going to bring other people into this woe is me energy, right? So it's like if you continue to dwell in a lot of the things that you've been in, you're not going to be able to foster relationships in a way that's not going to be a trauma bond, right? Trauma bond being connecting with somebody only through the trauma that you have both experienced. And once you kind of try to connect outside of that trauma, it becomes very uncomfortable, because if all you're used to is connecting with people on a trauma-based basis, then that's just kind of a breeding ground for a repetition of a lot of the things you've been through, which it looks to me you're trying to get away from that. It looks to me you want to move forward in a way that isn't going to be a repetition of this Nine of Cups energy. Because the Nine of Cups energy, the fact that it is twice and it can represent two different stories, it really just feels like it's heavy, heavy energy. And it feels like it's on both ends. This can represent multiple people here, given we do have a page. It's mostly just pages, because the princess in the Golden Dawn Tarot is also a page. A page is a princess. And so it kind of goes both ways, and there's a lot of page energy on the board. And so it's told me that there's a lot of divine feminine wounding that is being healed right now between you and this other person, and there's a need to accept the fact that you're both in your healing process right now. But I know there's a lot of kind of jumbled and mixed messages within there, but there's so many different things that came through with this, it seems. But we're going to get a closing message here for you with the animal messages. Oh, dropped a big old stack. I don't really take the stacks of these ones though, because they're a bit longer. So let me see here. Closing message for Virgo. Weekend on March 20th and 22nd. We do have the Badger, which is literally just came out for Leo. The Badger says abandon compromise and fight valiantly for what you believe in. So, it does feel like a very similar message is coming through. So, I mean, are you dealing with a Leo, right? Because, like, I remember in Leo's reading, like, an Earth sign came through as the overall energy. And so this could very well be you two dealing with each other. I mean, I would recommend go watching Leo's reading if this resonates with you, because it just did it. Seems a little bit, it was a little bit difficult to get the Leo part out, too. I noticed, like, I was doing the reading, and the energy was, it was kind of taking my words away from me. Like, I just felt emotionally compromised. And so it's almost as if there's a tail end and a heads and tails, excuse me, two sides of the same coin to these energies that are coming through with both you and Leo. But if we're looking at it in terms of this particular context and not even taking into consideration Leo's reading, because that's a whole nother thing, you may actually have Leo in your chart, which is why I implore you to have your chart open. But so there's this feeling of needing to understand why it is you compromise yourself, why it is you kind of abandon yourself in ways that are very self-sacrificial, and maybe put yourself in a position in which you come to a sense of feeling like you're at the mercy of somebody's selfishness, which now makes a little bit more sense with this Nine of Cups reverse coming out multiple times. And so it's needing to understand the fact that you do not have to suffer at the hands of another person's selfishness, and a lot of the times you need to let them go through what they need to go through without your input, because the more you try to help people learn their lessons, you're going to strip them of the power to be able to heal the lessons they need to heal, and by doing so, you're essentially forcing yourself and the other person to repeat the lesson again, which, as it looks right here, you don't want to do, which nobody does, right? But that's really all I have for you, Virgo. If you'd like to book a personal reading, please send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. I love you so much. Stay safe out there and stay calm. I hope you have a beautiful weekend nonetheless. Hello, Libra. Hope you're doing well. Keep in mind, turn my light back on. Keep in mind that this reading can apply to any Libran placement you have in your chart. If you're a cross-watcher, I do not judge you. Keep in mind that while you may not have a Libran placement, you will have Libra in one of your houses. That said, I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. Keep in mind, time and energy are fluid, so this message is going to apply to you or another person, or vice versa. So if it doesn't fit, do not force it. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. We're going to see what Spirit has in store for you for the weekend of March 20th to March 22nd, 2020. So we have I was going to cut the deck, but I was drawn to the Emperor at the bottom of the deck. Spirit told me to keep it, so I'm keeping it. So we have the Six of Swords reverse. We have the Chariot. We have the High Priestess reverse, and then the overall energy as the Emperor. So when I see the High Priestess in reverse, that represents the veil being lifted. And you're being shown the path to move forward, right? You're being shown opportunities to either move in a way that's going to reflect a lot of the conflicts and imbalanced situations you've been through, or you're being presented with the energy of the Emperor. The energy of the Emperor represents somebody who is very well balanced, very well maintained, very abundant in the material realm. That can be, financially, even emotionally, because emotions can apply to the physical realms in the sense of how we operate in the world with those emotions. The Chariot tells me that there is a need to kind of pull the reins in on your shadow side and on your ego, and really learn to tame it and not let it control you, but find a healthy balance between your ego and your higher self. And that's kind of what I see here with the Six of Swords and the Chariot to me right now, since the Six of Swords is reverse, represents the ego attempting to move out of control, but the High Priestess reverse tells me that you're seeing that happen, and you've seen the ways in which that plays out, and in order to get over that, you're going to have to be real with yourself. So let's clarify a bit and see what we can get here for you, Libra. Okay, what do we got here for you, Libra? We have the Ten of Cups, clarifying the Six of Swords reverse. We have the Devil, clarifying the Chariots. We have the Sun reverse, clarifying the High Priestess reverse. And then we have the Magician. But I'm also drawn to this Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Two of Cups representing, actually no, Spirit has told me to put this as the overall energy. So I'm going to keep it over here with the overall energy. Two of Cups to me represents inner union, balance between divine feminine energies and masculine energies. It can represent, a relationship, connection, union, but it's not really what's coming through with this. The main message I'm getting here, the Magician, as the overall energy, tells me that you are manifesting this internal union. You may be manifesting a union with somebody else. This could be a masculine energy you're dealing with, But if you do resonate more with masculine or feminine energy, regardless of the gender, keep in mind that this can also apply to your inner world. But what I find interesting here is we have the devil with the chariot. And it's as if the Six of Swords reverse the chariot and the devil. There's this energy of, it could be like a devilish type of energy, you know, it could be like, you know, maybe some type of energetic vampire type of situation in which somebody may be trying to pull you back into your old ways, trying to keep you away from this Ten of Cups. But it's as if this is a blessing in disguise, because it's teaching you how much you've learned, and it's teaching you how much you've truly grown, and that you're not going to fall back into those same patterns because you see it for what it is. It's like you see this devilish energy, you see the egoic tendencies, and you know where that gets you, and you know that you don't want to go back to that place, and you know that you don't want to invest in people that are still dwelling in that energy, because you have free will, and even if it is a divine partnership, you have no obligations to stick around with anybody, regardless of the nature of the relationship. So this is a reminder that if this person is choosing to dwell in ways that are toxic and unhealthy, you may have to distance yourself, and it can be tough. It is a difficult choice to make, but sometimes it has to be done for our own well-being. So let's get a closing message here for you, Libra. We have the wild boar. So the wild boar says, whatever tradition or others expect of you, only to yourself be true. And I feel like that is a nice way to close the reading, because it's just a reminder that you do need to be true to yourself. And you don't need to sacrifice yourself for the sake of the label of a relationship, right? You know, because like I feel like that's a huge stigma within twin flames, is like, oh, they're my only twin flame, and I have to be with this person, and we're going to end it together, and we can go through whatever this is and that, the third, and it's just serving our deeper learning. But yeah, to some extent, I feel like that can be true. But I do feel like that twin flame energy, soulmate energy, can manifest in so many different people. It doesn't just have to be one person. That's just my personal experience and my personal opinion on that. If it doesn't resonate, please do not force that. That is just how I view the twin flame dynamic. Because that energy can manifest through other people, because you have free will, and energy and time are honestly fluid. So think of it like you may have that kind of like very twin flamey type of connection with somebody, but given it's just a vessel that the energy is in, that energy can manifest in another vessel, right? Water is going to be water regardless of what cup you put it in, if that makes sense. So I think right now the main closing message for you right now is to just stop letting other people's expectations of you dictate how you continue to operate in relationships, and understand that you may be in a position in which you need to take your power back from this person, and sometimes that just means not always going with the flow in other people's flows, but learning to follow our own flows, learning to listen to our own intuition, and by doing so, taking the power away of people that try to control us, right? That's really all I got for you though, Libra. If you like a book person reading, please send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. Please stay safe and stay calm out there. I love you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Hello, Scorpio. I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind, this reading can apply to any scorpionic placement in your chart. If you're a cross-watcher, I do not judge you. But keep in mind that while you may not have a scorpionic placement, you will have Scorpio in one of your houses. So that said, I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. Keep in mind, time and energy are fluid, so these messages can apply to you or another person, or vice versa. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. With that said, we're going to see what Spirit has in store for you for the weekend of March 20th to the 22nd to 2020. And love. Alrighty, so we have Two of Swords reversed that just came out for Libra. We have the Eight of Wands. We have the Sun. And bottom of the deck, overall energy, we have the Princess of Pentacles reverse. So, I'm also seeing this Ace of Wands reverse as the overall energy clarifier. So I'm going to go ahead and place that there too. Also being drawn to this bottom of the deck here. This has been happening a lot for this reading. A lot of bottom of the deck energy has been coming through for multiple readings. So, given that the overall energy is taking the forefront of this reading right now, let's take a look at the Prince of Pentacles with the Ace of Wands reverse, clarified by the Magician. So, the Princess of Pentacles can represent somebody who is embarking on a new path. They are essentially leaving behind some old traditions, taking reins of their life. But given that the Princess of Pentacles, if it's a court card, if it's a princess, or if it's a prince, which prince would be like a knight, and then princess would also be a page, I believe, in some of the decks. So there's this energy of both of those cards not containing the experience necessary to make decisions in a way that's going to necessarily build their life in a way that's going to be sustainable. So the fact that that's in the reverse tells me that the overall energy for you right now is the need to essentially let go of an old way of living. And that's what I'm seeing here with this Ace of Wands, right? The Ace of Wands can represent somebody who is very like a player type of energy. Like in this context, there's like a player type of energy. So this can go a couple of ways. If this is a love reading and this may be somebody you're dealing with, like an earth sign, it could be a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. So maybe you're seeing the truth about somebody right now. You're seeing the fact that, I'm getting two stories here. I'm seeing that you're seeing this person for who they really are, but you're also seeing them in a way that is not who you thought they were, which is interesting. So it's like you're recognizing the fact that you don't want to manifest a relationship that is going to be like a player type of energy, somebody who is non-committal, somebody who you feel like is always talking to other people. But this reminds me of how, for the Scorpio readings in the past, we have had the idea of trust issues coming in, right? And there's a sense of needing to heal that in the context of this relationship or connection. So what I'm seeing with the Magician in the reverse is telling me that you may not be moving forward with somebody right now. And it's weird because it's like we have the Sun and the Four of Wands here too. And so it's like the reason you may not be moving forward, or maybe the reason that this person doesn't seem to be coming forward, it's like there's a fear of repeating the same patterns, which again is a big message been coming out for most of this reading. And the solitary energy has been big across the board. But what I'm seeing with the that's an Eight of Wands. I don't know why I thought that was a Four of Wands. But what I'm seeing with the Eight of Wands and the Sun is as if you and another person, you see a lot of potential in the relationship. It does feel sort of like a divine kind of partnership, but I'm not seeing any counterparts on the board. But what I see here with the Sun and the Eight of Wands to me represented in this card, you see two people bringing their it's actually four people, is it? But I mean, I guess if you just look at it like two people doing their hands like that. But you see Four Wands and Four Wands. Four Wands to me represents, a very spiritual divine connection. It is a card of marriage. I feel like when it's in the 8, that represents both parties coming to a consensus in which they do see potential in the relationship. But what I find interesting here is that we have the Two of Swords reverse. Two of Swords reverse to me can represent maybe small arguments, a kind of bickering type of energy. There's no peaceful resolution in sight. And I feel like that's a cause for this overall energy here. It's like you don't want to move forward because you know that even though there's a lot of potential, there was a lot of this Two of Swords reverse energy. And while it seems small, those small little arguments add up over time. And over time, you really just forget exactly what it was you were arguing about, but you just remember the feeling of the things that were said. And I think that's what hurts the most. You don't always remember what was said, remember how it made you feel. And those emotional memories are something that needs to be acknowledged and healed. Because if not, it's going to continue to bleed its way into your life. So let's clarify a bit here. We have the Four of Swords reverse, which came out for another sign, I believe. We have Death in reverse, because it represents you. It's a Scorpionic card. We have the Star reverse, and then as the overall energy clarifier again, we have the Two of Cups reverse. And the Magician reverse again. I'm just going to take that out because it came out again. So, and that's interesting too, because now we have the Devil. I didn't even look at this at the other one, but the Devil is at the bottom of the deck reverse on both of them. And so what I'm being told is the Devil has left you both alone. I feel like there was a lot of meddling in this relationship. There were people that were not happy to see you two talking. They were not happy to see you two potentially building something together. And I feel like there was a lot of projection there. When it comes to particular relationships, you would be surprised at how far people are willing to go to try to keep people apart. It is actually very sad. There is a lot of things that can be done outside of your perception that will tend to cause a relationship to have conflict that you may not know where it's coming from. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's what I'm seeing is as if the reason that this Two of Swords reverse came to fruition in the first place was because there just seems like this, it feels like an outside energy that was trying to keep you two apart. given that there is a beautiful opportunity for building something, but it's not transforming because it's not meant to yet, is what I'm being told. And that's what I'm seeing here with the Star, the Death reverse, and the Four of Swords reverse. The Four of Swords can represent a time of rest and recuperation, but given it's in the reverse, this is telling me that this foundation is being stripped to its bare essentials, right? And so if you're thinking about this relationship as like a car, essentially the entire body of the car is being stripped away, and you're just going to have the chassis and the engine, or what have you, in the tires. I don't know enough about cars to really give a deep explanation of what that would look like, but essentially things are being built again from the ground up, because there's clearly a lot of potential here, but you got to recognize that it's going to take both of you to want to do this for things to move forward in any kind of way, right? So the Star reverse to me represents the need for patience. It represents the need to get in touch with your higher self and to stop worrying so much about what the future is going to look like, and understand that this Death reverse, given it is in the reverse, it represents a small transformation taking place. Not small in the terms of like the grand scheme of how important it is, but recognizing that like each small increment is leading you deeper into yourself, and thus helping you understand the fact that if you do want to continue with this person, it's going to take time and it's going to take patience on both ends. But that said, we're going to get a closing message here for you, Scorpio. Two shuffles with the animal messages. What have we got for Scorpio? I'm trying to shuffle on a very small space here. Okay, so let's see. We have Panda. Panda says, enjoy the sanctuary of solitude to regain self-esteem and tranquility. So I'm basically being told that this situation has caused both of you to feel very insecure. I feel like you both have hurt each other to the point where you made each other unsure of what you thought you were sure of. Like, there was a point where what I'm seeing here is like a time like you both were so sure about each other, you both knew that you wanted to bring things to another level, but then a lot of things happened. This Two of Swords happened, right? And so a lot of things started transforming, but I think the deeper understanding here is realizing that it had to happen. And sometimes that's kind of hard to understand or integrate, because when those situations are as difficult as they are, learning to accept the fact that that was part of our healing journey isn't always easy to do when you're in the middle of the transformation, right? But it's like the Panda coming to you at the end of this reading here, especially considering the energy right now, it is a reminder that right now this solitude is necessary in order for you to gain your self-esteem back. And you have to be the one to build that up for yourself. And you can't let this other person or outside influences dictate the quality and amount of self-esteem that you have within yourself. And it's like right now, considering the circumstances, this is the perfect time for that. This is the perfect time to evaluate, one, if you do want to move forward in this relationship, and if you do want to move forward in this relationship, determining what it is you need to cultivate within yourself that is going to allow you to come together in a way that is healthy and conducive to the well-being of all parties involved, right? But that said, that is all I have for you, Scorpio. I love you so much. If you would like to book a personal reading, please send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. Stay safe out there. Stay calm. I do love you so much. I believe I just said that, but it doesn't matter. I love you anyways. Yeah, but that's all. This concludes part 2 of the reading. I will see you on part 3 of the reading. Bye.